want to welcome everyone to a great panel with Granite. They are an amazing company that serves on our board. And today we have Sheikh and Peter Helms with us as we talk about from schools to malls, taking care of customers in COVID. And the lessons that a company like Granite has learned and what they can share with us is how they've managed through the crisis, through the pandemic. And so I really look forward to this conversation today. We've had an amazing lineup of panels and speakers for the very first all virtual conference Connect In for InCompas. And so Sana, I'd love to start with you. Tell everyone that's listening and watching, who are your customers? Who do you serve? Just what is the profile and what makes Granite distinct?
Absolutely. So Granite is a competitive local exchange carrier headquartered in Quincy, Massachusetts. We launched in 2002 and gained success in the industry by providing multi-location businesses with a one-stop shop for their local and long-distance phone services. We've successfully implemented this simplified billing model and customer service platform that earned the trust of thousands of businesses and government agencies nationwide. Today, Granite's the leader in aggregating POT services and has extended this unique value of one company, one contact, one bill to include a range of advanced business services, including like internet access, SD-WAN, hosted PBX, SIP, mobility services, network integration, and so much more. Currently, Granite furnishes over 1.75 million voice and data services to more than 2/3 of the Fortune 100 companies, including large retailers, healthcare companies, financial institutions, hospitality entities, REITs, schools, libraries, and government agencies. In 2017, Granite was actually awarded one of 9 spots on the Enterprise Infrastructure Solutions contract. It's a 15-year, $50 billion next generation telecommunications contract vehicle for federal agencies. Since then, Granite has expanded its government practice. We opened up an office right outside Washington, D.C. So we pretty much provide services to everyone. Any types of telecommunication services they're looking for, we pretty much hit that industry.
Well, Granite really is the leader in this space. Just an amazing range of customers, not only from government to Walmart, to Walgreens, to rural, to urban, to every retail location, to most of the malls of the country. And as our companies responded to the FCC effort to keep America connected, I want to thank Granite. Y'all stepped up, led the way, and y'all serve so much of the retail marketplace. People don't realize how damaging the pandemic was to that sector of business. And so I want to talk to Peter a little bit. Sana talked about government, healthcare, retail, schools. You really serve every cross section in commerce in the country. Talk about what have you had to do differently during the pandemic to meet the needs of your customers? What kind of products? Just talk to us a little bit on that side of how y'all have responded during this time.
Well, unfortunately, at the onset of the pandemic, many of our retail, government, and education vertical customers had to close locations. Restaurants shifted operations to locations that were allowed to remain open and also began online ordering with curbside pickup or home delivery. Retail increased online sales and also started to do curbside pickup. Government went to a complete online model. They were conducting business and completing transactions online. And each of these verticals had different needs from a product and service standpoint, but they all wanted the same result. They all wanted to make sure they could service their customers. So Granite ended up working with each customer individually, tailoring a solution that allowed for business continuity despite a physical location being closed or consolidated. We expanded product sets like simple remote call forwarding so customers never missed a call. In addition to that, we enhanced our Wi-Fi hotspot mobility solutions to expand internet access footprints. At the same time, while creating the new product sets, we still needed to focus our attention on the locations that were shuttered or closed. Despite no occupants, some of our customers and end users had a need for increased bandwidth in those locations so staff or employees could VPN or remote desktop in from their home office. We also had to ensure locations with fire alarms and fire panels were still a priority and monitored accordingly. There was a whole host of things that we did. We just worked individually with our customers and tailored our individual products accordingly to try to get them the best solution that they need.
You know, as I visited the headquarters of Granite right outside of Boston and Quincy, y'all have a command and control center. You have a war room. If any of your customers call in, they have a problem, they have a need, somebody answers within, and they have the clocks on the walls to monitor and measure.
Yes.
It's really an amazing operation, culture, and commitment to customers that really give y'all a great defining distinctive advantage over your competition. So as I think through the pandemic, how many schools, how many hospitals, how many government services and small businesses, as well as large, were calling the staff, and y'all were having to tailor new products and new ways to deliver and to meet the increased online demand in every vertical. So I really want to thank y'all for being a great example of our membership, our industry, and the response in the midst of the pandemic. And just listening, how did y'all do with schools, for example, as we shifted from in-school, in-person instruction to online? Give us some examples of what Granite did.
Well, when the schools and libraries closed, you did not realize how many individuals, students, lost their primary internet access. They were completely unable to have access to anything. And of course, we all know that when you go to a remote learning model, internet is the keys to the kingdom. So our Granite mobility team enhanced and augmented our already successful mobility Wi-Fi solution so it could be deployed in school buses. You say school buses and everyone's like, well, how would you do that? So we ended up taking rugged wireless routers with multi-carrier SIMs, high gain antennas, battery backups, and AC power inverters, and we were able to deploy them in the school buses or other locations where students can gain access to the internet. The idea was the school buses weren't being used. You could basically make them a hotspot. Students could be around them, near them, gain access, and do their online learning. It was a perfect solution. This solution was also able to be used in situations for portable schools, outdoor classrooms, sporting events. It's just anywhere where one of our customers needed internet access that was outside of their normal network. It proved extremely popular, and the bus companies liked it too because the buses were still being used despite not shuttling kids back and forth to school. So it was a win-win for everybody.
You know, is the other thing I think about when I think about Granite is that I know that y'all use underlying companies to provide the network connections to the front door, so to speak. But then y'all are the really innovative leading provider that deploys in the premise, in the mall, in the school, and now in the bus. And so I want to commend you for the innovation of how y'all deploy your networks, your hotspots, your Wi-Fi, all the things that a lot of people don't think about. They may think about the wire in the ground or on the pole to a business or a residence. But y'all are really the expert of the in-premise deployment of networks that really makes all of the systems work together. So I commend your innovation on that. And so we talked about schools, talk about malls, talk about big retail centers that have really been hurt during COVID. What did y'all do to help sustain and support that sector of our economy?
As most people know, Granite has always been extremely successful in the mall and retail outlet space. We've laid fiber for voice and data solutions in well over 300 malls throughout the United States and including Puerto Rico. At the onset of the pandemic, the malls were immediately closed. And then despite the closures, we, as I mentioned earlier, we needed to be able to support the infrastructure and fiber that was there despite no tenants, no customers in those locations. We took a proactive approach with the individual customers when we learned that the malls were closing. We started proactively reaching out. We used our support staff, called, said, what can we do for you? What do you guys need? What are your intentions? So with that, we were able to offer overlay product and services to make sure that they were able to do business continuity. And also we made changes to their bandwidth. Did they need to throttle up, throttle down? It was very ICB depending upon the tenant in the mall or the mall itself based on what their needs were. Now we're kind of past that where the malls have reopened and resumed operations. And many of our customers are trying to bring their business back to normal. They're bringing their services back to where they were pre-pandemic. However, we've also noticed that in some cases, a lot of the tenants or the malls themselves, they're increasing bandwidth because people have been shopping more. So there's now, we have all these increased orders coming in for additional bandwidth. So it's been a little bit of a roller coaster. I don't need anything, now I need more. So it just depends on the individual retailer or the mall setting itself on what they're doing now.
And what I really want to stress to our listeners and viewers on this panel, a major part of the recovery of being able to go for a period of time for public health, to shut down our economy, to limit access to all the retail outlets and stores. Y'all kept those places up, going, running, connected. And now for the recovery, because it was never disconnected, it speeds the recovery and it helps return them to normal and to growth. And as we go into Thanksgiving and Christmas and a busy season, that continuity of service is going to make a difference. And again, I want to recognize and pay tribute to what Granite and our other member companies have done to speed the recovery by keeping everyone connected. So Sanat, so now I get to ask you a question. The distinctive for Granite really is customer service. So talk about what have y'all done as you have interacted with your customer base and kept them knowledgeable, informed of options and solutions and creative ways for them to manage through this time?
Absolutely. So early on, as soon as the pandemic hit, Granite created an in-house pandemic response team. This was made up of members from our executive team, legal teams, finance and account management teams. I was actually a member of it as well. We immediately began working directly with the customers to identify efficiencies and savings. For example, there was one large national car part distributor with thousands of locations around the United States that uses Granite for voice and data services. We were able to design a cost-effective mobility and conferencing solution to meet their needs. For other customers, we were able to assist in minimizing expenses, in managing multiple providers by providing that more cost-effective solution on Granite's own platform. And they were able to receive additional support, like from our own aggregation model of being that one-stop shop. For some customers, we were able to Peter's point, work with them to identify services necessary for maintaining critical infrastructure. For example, if they have bank vaults or if they needed alarm lines. We also really worked on educating our customers on additional funding opportunities, such as SBA loans, telehealth funding, tax benefits under the CARES Act. This allowed them to take advantage of all these financial resources that were available to them, while also focusing on their families and figuring out what was next. Our goal from the very beginning has been to be a resource and a partner to our customers as they try to manage their expenses while maintaining services. So when they could resume operations in any capacity, they were ready to hit the ground running.
Well, you know, as I think about another, I think, strength of Granite is coming to Washington, meeting with members of Congress, meeting with the commission, you know, telling the story of competition and service and why those policies that promote competition are so important. but you've also been an important voice to be able to talk to policymakers during this crisis. Talk a little bit about some of the things that Congress enabled that has helped you serve your customers, and anything that could be important for Congress and the FCC to do on a going forward basis that, again, would provide the funding or the flexibility or the resources that all of our member companies need to maintain connectivity and service.
Absolutely. Well, first off, we're really impressed with how the FCC and Congress really stepped up right away, recognizing the fact that, you know, these customers, they need to maintain their telecommunication services, they need to maintain their utilities. No one really knew when the pandemic was going to end or if it was ever going to be over, and what would be necessary in the meantime. So very early on, as you mentioned before, the FCC set up the Keeping Americans Connected pledge, under which Granite voluntarily agreed to not shut off services or charge late fees for customers affected by the pandemic. This was then later on extended, despite the fact that there was no reimbursement for carriers for the extensive costs associated with participating in this program. But we felt like this was the proper way to operate. By no means was it easy, was it the best solution, or the most lucrative option, but it was the right thing to do and the right way to act under the circumstances. Policymakers and legislators, like, they shouldn't assume that because we opted to sign and then extend the pledge voluntarily, that there weren't any real repercussions. To the contrary, Granite itself had to slash budgets and expenses. We were not hiring. We actually cut compensation for some people, and we delayed raises and bonuses. But Granite was willing to make those sacrifices because we knew that discontinuing services would be the most disruptive thing we could do for our customers. And it would end up actually hurting their customers and their employees, their families and communities. So in the end, we knew that by participating in the FCC's pledge, that maintaining services would help them recover more quickly and completely. And that was our part as to what it is that we can do. We also applaud Congress for really quickly adopting the CARES Act. And in that CARES Act, they had PPP loan programs under the Small Business Administration. This was a forgivable loan that provided so many of our customers with the ability to continue operations during the pandemic. What started as an 8-week program, which was then I think later on extended to 24 weeks, it allowed customers to use these forgivable loans for their utility payments, including telecommunication services. This was particularly helpful for a lot of our multi-site businesses, especially restaurants, who were eligible for loans based off of, because it was 500 employees by location. We also commend the FCC for the deployment of the telehealth program. This provided additional funding for some eligible customers towards critical health telehealth infrastructure. That was something that was very new to the healthcare industry, just having to work remotely, dealing with patients remotely, and different infrastructure was needed for that. And the FCC recognized that, and they stepped in, and they had this $200 million program immediately available that a lot of our customers were able to benefit from. There was also the CARES Act tax glitch, where they fixed the retail glitch in the 2017 tax legislation and allowed for tax benefits for improvements to commercial real estate that many of our customers were able to take advantage of. At the end of the day, we really focused on educating our customers as to everything it is that Congress and the FCC had done and made available to them so they could maintain their businesses. Unfortunately, though, there's still a lot of work that needs to be done. A lot of our customers continue to hurt. It's still a precarious situation. This pandemic isn't over. So we're optimistic that Congress is going to pass additional legislation, the FCC is going to approve additional funds to empower businesses with resources that they need to continue to maintain operations as we try to figure out what the new normal is.
Well, and I can't tell you how grateful I am that Granite and our other member companies have stepped up to the challenge. In an earlier session with Chairman Pai, he really commended InCompas as being the first to step up to say, we'll take the pledge. And your company and others in our association have really sacrificed, led, and maintained the connections that make me very, very proud to represent Granite and the rest of the industry. So I want to ask one other business question, and then I'll come back into how do we go forward. So Granite, another element of the business model, very important, is that y'all resell services from other telcos and cables, the underlying incumbents and all the different markets that where you serve, whether it is an AT&T or Verizon or Century or Frontier or a cable company or a competitive provider. You resell their network, but then do all the things that we've been talking about on top of those services and to meet their specific targeted needs in the one-stop shop in one building and all of those things. How has your relationship been with the networks that you buy from and then resell from? How has the pandemic and COVID affected those relationships?
Sheikh, I'm glad to hear you mention that Granite's network has been instrumental in the services it is that we're able to provide our customers. At the end of the day, competition is the core of our business and the core to success in this economy. So we were able to really leverage all the successful relationships that we've built with our network as we were dealing with hundreds of different vendors during this pandemic. Granite was in this unique position with our customers, with our premier account management, to be that one-stop resource for the questions related to their services across dozens of providers. They didn't have to call up everyone individually. They could call up Granite, and we were able to provide them the security and the information that they needed very quickly. We've been working with our partners to stand by us as we address these really real concerns that our customers have. So we're constantly going back, updating our vendors and our partners as to what is going on, where our customers stand right now, and what it is that they're looking for. Some partners, such as Cradlepoint, they stepped up and they worked with us to design and implement the school bus Wi-Fi that Peter was talking about. Now, thousands of students benefited from that. So Cradlepoint really stepped up and been a great partner for us. Unfortunately, not everyone adopted that same approach. At least one underlying carrier has been using its monopoly status to take advantage of an already really difficult situation by increasing its rates mid-pandemic. Our discussions with this partner are evolving every day in light of the current state of the pandemic, and we're hopeful that our partner will do the right thing for our customers and generally for this economy, and that is to help maintain competition.
Well, and I can't stress enough, doing the right thing during this time, whether it's a partner or what Granite has done in many cases, whether you're capping your compensation, cutting your prices, keeping your services up and running, even if people can't pay. This is the time for partners, whether they're a competitor or not, to really come together, find solutions, not raise prices, and keep America running and recovering during this time. So I wish you the very best in all those relationships and negotiations. And what I'd like to do now is kind of finish with both you and Peter as we look forward. What are anything that you would stress for InCompas that we can do to be helpful to advocate before Congress, to try to get those other things that we need to get done before the end of the year, going into the next Congress, or anything in the business as you provide services to government, to schools, to critical community facilities and institutions, and to the small business, mid-size, and retail business as they come out of the pandemic and hopefully grow, expand, and recover. So looking forward, what are the things that you would like to leave all of our viewers with?
I guess it's just important to note that, with everything that we're doing, I feel like we're not out of the woods yet. I think that there could potentially be changes that are going to force our customers, to make additional augmentations or pivots to how they operate going forward. I'm not quite sure what it might be, but I don't know, there's something there that could potentially change things. I just want everyone to know that Granite as a company, we are 100% committed to listening to our customers. We offer the support and strive to provide the products and services that they need to operate successfully despite the situation. We have no idea what the future is going to hold, and Granite will work with our customers straight through it and try to make sure that they have everything that they need so they can succeed as well. We as a company are attempting to stay ahead of the curve and come to the table with solutions that just ensure business continuity for our end users. We hear them, we listen to them, and we try to work with them as best we possibly can.
Absolutely. And to kind of piggyback off of what Peter just said, and what he said about all of our customers are unique. Granite is in this unique position where we deal with so many different types of customers across different industries nationwide, small, mid-sized, large retailers. We have government agencies. And I think one thing we recognize is it's not one shoe fits all, but one thing that is necessary for all of our customers is maintaining competition. This is a time that's critical where our customers need to rely on competition. We need to get the economy back up and running again. We need to make everyone whole. We need to make everyone strong. And the best way to do that is to maintain and provide them additional relief on their telecommunication services, provide them with competition. So Chip, thank you so much to you and the rest of the InCompas team for everything you've done for advocating for competition and maintaining competition across the FCC, across Congress. We think that is the one critical thing that our customers rely on us for, rely on policymakers for, to maintain in order for them to focus on getting themselves back up and running and back to a place where we can hopefully say is we're strong again.
Well, again, I thank both you and Peter for this panel. More importantly, for the entire Granite team, leadership, Rob Hale, and just a tremendous philanthropic as well as community and corporate leader. We couldn't be more proud to have Granite. Y'all are the, as you were talking about, not every shoe fits, or not one size fits, but y'all are the kind of the Cinderella. You find the shoe that fits.
That's right.
And that gives you a competitive, distinctive advantage. You're a great advocate for your customers, and you're a great advocate for our industry. And so we thank and commend the entire Granite team, and we look forward to continuing our work, our advocacy together.